What's up, everybody? This is Ryan Thomas, and welcome to the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. I'm your host, bringing you another edition of the Thomas Take, and you are tuning in live on YouTube, Spreaker, iTunes, Twitter, Facebook, you name it, and also it cannot be forgotten, I cannot fail to mention Rochester Sports Network. Very excited to be a part of this network with a lot of great guys, a lot of great podcasts locally in this area, in the city of Buffalo, in Western New York. I'm very excited to be a part of this team. And I wanted to hop on tonight and let it be known that I'm very excited for the future of the Thomas Take. And I think that we're going to have a lot of interesting guests on the show for many, many years to come. So thank you, guys. Thank you for having me be a part of your network, the Rochester Sports Network. In case you want to check us out, go to rocksports.com, ROCsportsnetwork.com. You can check out all the other webcast, podcast shows that are a part of the Rochester Sports Network, and also check out the Huddle magazine, the top left corner of the screen. Click and read away, and we really enjoyed producing that, putting that together for you guys, and putting it together for the Buffalo Bills fans, the Bills Mafia. Thank you very much. So let's get started. Today, the Buffalo Bills announced that they sent linebacker Reggie Ragland, the second-year linebacker / rookie Reggie Ragland, packing to the Kansas City Chiefs. This was a rumor that was thrown around for about a few weeks or so, especially after the rumor of the Sammy Watkins trade, and then the Sammy Watkins trade happening. Reggie Ragland kind of became the next man up to be traded, and I think that realistically, there's a lot of reasons why this trade happened. Reason one: Reggie Ragland tore his knee his rookie season last year, his rookie season as a second-round draft selection out of the University of Alabama. He was a premier college linebacker who had a devastating knee injury in training camp last year in Pittsburgh at St. John Fisher. I was there. I witnessed the injury. It wasn't just your average, typical ACL injury. It was a very devastating knee injury, one that would take at least a year to recover from. And Reggie Ragland worked his tail off to make this comeback, to make it back to Buffalo Bills training camp. And shall I say that I need to say, it needs to go without, I can't fail to mention that it was truly remarkable to see this guy come back in virtually less than a year's time from a devastating knee injury. And yes, he was not what he once was. He did not have the immediate impact that he was projected to, come the start of last season, the start of last season's training camp. We saw Reggie Ragland kind of get off to a slow start, and that resulted in moving down the depth chart rather than moving up the depth chart. One of the most intriguing position battles at the start of the Bills training camp was between linebacker Preston Brown and Reggie Ragland for that middle linebacker spot. Preston Brown a better fit in the 4-3, Reggie Ragland a better fit in the 3-4. I think that was kind of a teeter-totter as far as Reggie Ragland going down, Preston Brown going up, and and Reggie Ragland sent packing. That was a key reason why. Gerald Hodges is a really underrated linebacker. I think he really fills in well there at the backup middle linebacker spot. And realistically, a lot of reports were stating that Reggie Ragland would be dropped, would be let go, come the start of the season, come the conclusion of the 53-man roster trim, which goes from 90 to 53 all in one fell swoop. So good on the Bills for getting something for him, but it does kind of beg the question, if Reggie Ragland, if Sammy Watkins was traded, if Ronald Darby was traded, if Reggie Ragland was traded, who was the second-round pick in the Bills draft a year ago, who is next? And realistically, why are they next? And I think that will be the huge question. Who could be next? Who could be traded for a draft pick? And the one real criticism that I have of the trade, of the Ragland trade, is that in the previous two trades, I'm trading Sammy Watkins away for a second-round pick in next year's draft, acquiring E.J. Gaines. Previous trade of them trading Ronald Darby away for Jordan Matthews and a third-round pick from the Philadelphia Eagles. Why were the Buffalo Bills unable to net a 2018 draft choice, a fourth round, a fifth rounder for Reggie Ragland? If they're going all in for this 2018 draft, which has a deep crop of players, I'm wondering why it was a 2019 fourth-round selection. Do I think they could leverage that and turn it into something else? Do I think that could be a pick that could potentially become a 2018 draft selection? Who knows? It's quite possible. I think this GM is very forward-thinking as opposed to Doug Whaley, obviously. So only time will tell. And realistically, I'm a little bit disappointed. I feel like they needed to maybe give Ragland a little bit more time, let him prove his worth a little bit more. He was really, really working his tail off to make it back to the Buffalo Bills. And for him to work this hard, for him to not even make it through the first 4 weeks of the actual preseason, he's traded away before the fourth preseason game. I bet that was a pretty tough pill for him to swallow, regardless of opportunity or scheme fit or what you call getting a new opportunity on a new team. I think Ragland really wanted to be a part of the Buffalo Bills. He was really happy about being here. He was happy to be drafted by the Bills. And it kind of sucks that it was a glass half full career, if you want to call it that, pit stop. If you want to call it that, that would suffice. A pit stop in Buffalo for Reggie Ragland. And I wish him nothing but the best. I was very high on this player coming out of the draft. I thought he would have been a perfect fit for the Buffalo Bills, and I think he was. Just the head coaching change from Rex Ryan to Sean McDermott, what people fail to realize, all the people, and for good reason, all the people that wanted Reggie Ragland, or all the people that wanted Rex Ryan, I should say, gone, and for good reason. The defense was struggling. You had Jay Ajayi putting up 200 yards each game. You had Le'Veon Bell putting up almost 300 total yards. He needed to go. I get that, but when you fire one coach, more often than not, it doesn't make your team better. It actually makes your team take a couple steps back. Schemes can change, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing McDermott and Bean bring in players that fit what they are trying to do, and some of the players that are already here or that were already here are obviously now gone. So I expect to see more of that. Obviously, as I've stated many, many times, I don't anticipate Tyrod Taylor being here next season. I think this is a prove-it type year for a lot of players on this Buffalo Bills team, and we're going to see a true transition year from 2017 onward to 2018, and I really enjoy seeing how this will shape out, because I like to watch teams get built rather than torn down. I don't think that this is a tear down. I think that this could be a quick, long-term rebuild, being that the Bills are accumulating many draft choices to build for the future, improve on the game's most important positions, quarterback, wide receiver, linebacker, in the secondary, virtually everywhere. And realistically, Doug Whaley was making draft picks expendable, and this regime is making draft picks dependable. So accumulating those picks, we're seeing before our very eyes what it can do for a franchise. You look at the Cleveland Browns, I know that they're a common joke. I know that they are kind of a barbershop talk. But at the same time, they've accumulated picks. They've filled a plethora of needs with great collegiate players. Myles Garrett, Julius Peppers, Deshaun Kaiser, three players that the Browns have acquired basically through a plethora of trades. And it has made their team that much better for the future. I think the future for the Browns is brighter than it is for any other team in the AFC North. That includes the Cincinnati Bengals. That includes the Pittsburgh Steelers. That includes the Baltimore Ravens. The future is brighter for that team. So if Buffalo can kind of craft their own plethora of picks, which they already have, a multitude of picks in the first, second, third, and now fourth rounds in the 2019 NFL Draft, I think that is a good thing. I think this team has a wide variety of needs. I've stated that time and time again. And in some regards, they've even added to those wide variety of needs by making some of the trades that they have. But they are going to find the right players that fit this 4-3 defense, that fit this West Coast style offense of Rick Dennison. And I am encouraged by that. I am encouraged with the future. Some of the most tenured players on the team, the Eric Woods, the Kyle Williams of the world, those guys believe that this is a step in the right direction, that there is a real clear direction that this team is going in. And whether there's a question mark with a face on it in terms of the franchise quarterback, I am confident that this regime will find the right one. And right now, you look at the quarterback position, and I'm going to talk about that in the next segment of the Thomas Take, but it is not bright. And I think that this regime recognizes that, this regime notices that, and I think that we're going to have a hell of a draft in 2018. I have faith in that, but let it be known, if we miss on the draft, which the NFL draft is the most non-guaranteed science of acquiring players in terms of any sport, I believe. In the MLB draft, you got 30-some rounds. In the NBA draft, it's pretty watered down. Usually the top 5 players are really the only ones that have an NBA impact right away. The NHL draft is even worse. Really only the top 3 players every couple years are true franchise players. So the NFL really is a inexact science, and I think that this regime has to hit rather than bust in 2018 more than any other year. This next draft will dictate the future of this franchise for many years to come, and the 2019 draft obviously will dictate whether this move was a good one or not. I can't say whether it was a good move. I think it was a little bit premature, but apparently the Buffalo Bills were looking to cut Reggie Ragland, a player that they selected in the second round of last year's draft. So this knee injury, as I stated earlier in the show, was a devastating knee injury. There's no doubt about that. He definitely had a real injury there. There's guys that say that there's been so much improvements in terms of the NFL, capability to combat the ACL injury, but Reggie Ragland's was a McGahee-like ACL injury. And I think that goes without saying because of the fact that he is now traded. He is now playing for his second team in 3 years, the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think he will be a great fit there. I think he's going to have a decent career. I think he will come back, and I think the Chiefs will be patient with Reggie Ragland, knowing that he fits their scheme. There's more of a role for him on the Chiefs than there was the Bills, unfortunately. So that was the Thomas Take, Part 1. Reggie Ragland moved today from the Buffalo Bills to the Kansas City Chiefs. The Bills acquiring a 4th-round selection in the 2019 NFL Draft. I'm Ryan Thomas. Thank you all for tuning into the Thomas Take. We'll be right back. Part 2 coming up. I'm going to dive into the current Buffalo Bills quarterback situation. Stay tuned.